All right, and welcome. This is Nick Brain presenting Let's Learn Japanese, course series for the self-study of Japanese from basics and beginnings up to intermediate and hopefully advanced. If you'd like to become a member of the Let's Learn or become a sponsor of the Let's Learn Japanese project, the links to the page are down below for you to be a sponsor that way. Also, if you'd like to hire me for tutoring services, usually for technical assistance, get you started or whatnot, then the hourly rates are given on the Patreon. They can also be done via the Patreon, so the hourly rates are given there as well. So the links are down below in the description. Okay, so this as usual is a Let's Read Japanese, as last few hundred have been. So the basic idea here is up above we'll be playing the audio or the show of what I'll be reading along to. Off the side is going to be the text or the subtitle rips of what I'll be reading along to. Of what I'll be reading, sorry. And so I read along as the audio plays up above. And if I come across a word or phrase I don't know, I pause it real quick, look up what everything means, and then continue on enjoying the show. All right, so the basic idea with this is by doing it in this manner, you've increased your comprehension of this one particular show to the highest degree possible to your current level of Japanese or whatever languages you're picking to do something like this. And there's some benefits that bring along, such as during repeated viewing of the show, you can watch it, just normally as it's meant to be, but again, the comprehension is that much higher. The other things that can happen is it helps if you do it for future studies, such as Morph Man, Subsessor S, or sentence mining, whatever. Or also if you decide to rip the audio and then use it in immersive listening in that way, through background or passive immersion. Yeah, so there's all sorts of benefits that can happen by doing something like this once per episode. And then you utilize the episode multiple times after that. It also works for movies, books, whatever. All right, so let me think. This is, I think we're about 2/3 of the way through last time I did this, so now we're getting into the last third of everything. We'll be finishing up this particular season in about 3 or 4 more sessions, and then after that is about 6 more sessions or so, 6 or 7 more sessions for the final season, season 5, and then we're done with Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I'll be moving on into Attack on Titan to finish up seasons 2 and 3, and then wait on that for season 4. However, and then of course after I'm done with Attack on Titan, move into more live action dramas. Move back to live action dramas. So that's the current plan. At the same time, I'm doing my own personal studies off the live stream. So I'm not sharing like how I'm doing. I'm just, whenever someone asks like how's my Japanese, I always say it's at a low level. That's kind of how I interpret it. If they ask how long I've studied, it's a complicated answer. So usually I'll say like, okay, I started about maybe 12 years ago, was serious about 2 or 3 years, and then kind of stopped for 6 years. And even when I tried to get back into it 4 years ago, it was kind of slow going. Like I went really slow to finally get into actually say, okay, yeah, I'm gonna seriously. It was like maybe 2 years ago I wanted to really be a bit more serious about it. But even then, I've been on and off. Like I've gone like sometimes months at a time without studying anything in Anki, for example. So that's just my personal character. So I'm just not as dedicated as would be necessary to get better faster. But I don't think that's a detriment to the method itself. I don't, it's not a difficult method. The idea is like hiragana, katakana, 1,000 most common words, 500 most common kanji, another 1,500 words, 500 more kanji, another 2,000 words. Continue on there. Start incorporating either sentence mining or Morph Man, and then incorporate this type of active reading, active viewing, active immersion is what I call it, where you kind of look up what you don't, while you're watching or consuming media, you look up what you don't know. So that's active immersion. Passive would just mean you're going only on what your current abilities are to understand and comprehend. So that's passive, as opposed to what some may think passive means. Now, background would be like if it's just having stuff playing all the time. So, yeah, that's usually what's, I tend to answer or whatnot on how, when it discusses myself. And other people do better and do better faster. No doubt about it. They use their own method. But the ones that do great, again, common theme behind everything is, again, immersion. A big thing is like consuming the media. So you get better at the language by consuming the language. And the more what you consume, the more comprehensible it is, the better you're going to get from it. Same like, you know, kind of like when you eat food, the better you can digest the food, the more you're going to get out of it, you know. Yeah, if that, yeah, that makes sense. You got to consume a lot of it, you know, to kind of make that language up an internal part of you. The active study, you know, which is also that helps speed the process up. But if all you've done is active study, you're probably going to have, you're going to sound really different than someone who is, you know, you're not going to sound natural. I'll put it that way, because the average native didn't get good at the language by constantly studying the language. They got it because of constantly immersing. Now they have studied it, you know, active reading of, you know, utilizing it. But you know, I'm pretty sure they've studied the language. I mean, the use of kanji, that's a, you know, that's a studied aspect. And to get really good at kanji, of course, they've had to do through study. You know, part of it was immersion library, but like be able to write from memory. So that's some active study. So that's a, if you want to see like a comparison of abilities between a native and a non-native, is probably look at kanji ability for writing. And you know, I think you'll see like the benefit of when you do active study, you can, because again, the active study of writing out stuff by hand is outside the basics. You know, and by basics, I mean there's still like hundreds, if not that, hundreds of kanji there. You know, close to 2,000 that they could probably write from memory without too much effort. And then, you know, from 2,000 to 3,000, the 1,000 there in that range, they'll be able to read most likely fine, but writing from memory, it's either impossible or very difficult, or filled with mistakes. So it's just a matter, once you understand that aspect, you realize how to approach studying. About, you know, kanji is super important, but don't get into the trap of thinking like, you know, you need 3,000. You will eventually need 3,000, but that doesn't mean you need it right up front. The front loading, there's some benefits, but front load smart. You know, front load, front load based on the amount of vocabulary you're about to be studying. You know, so hence the reason why I broke everything down into parts of 500 kanji each, is because each of those 500, you know, that's going to lead up for the next number of the words you're going to be learning on top of every other vocabulary beyond that. And then, but when you get that next set of 500, it's, you know, the previous words you learned, that 500 kanji weren't going to be that useful anyway, so why worry at that point? It's all the words that you're going to be learning past that point that it becomes more important. So hopefully that makes sense. And yeah, let's get to it. What is the time right now? 10 minutes. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Got 2 people watching. Hey, 2 people watching. How are you doing? And feel free to make comments down below. I'll try to, and yeah, I do read and sometimes reply. But yeah, let's get started. Okay. Episode 45. And let's see, 80. Yeah, everything looks good. All right, let's do it. Oh, by the way, so again, previous episode, Greed showed up at Raph's house and just started attacking him. So I guess he's having memories of what Raph did to him in the sewers of, I forgot the city of Brisk or whatever it was. So yeah, that's happening. And also, in this episode was when all the characters kind of split ways, and Al met up with the father in, I forgot the city place. I'm forgetting all these locations, but it's fine. Just the one where the cult was at in the very first or second episode. Make sure this is turned on. I think it is. Yeah, it is. Okay. 下がってなさい。どういうことだよ、ラース。消えねえんだよ。俺の頭ん中でガンガンうるせえんだよ。なんでお前がキングブラッドレーが出てくるんだ。お前、俺のもんに何をした。強欲か。強欲か。捨てることを知らず過去を貪る愚か者めが。貪る。
様、奥様もセリム様もご無事ですか？
ええ。
申し訳ありません。警備の者が手も足も出ず。いや、気にするな。あれは相当の手だれだ。
手だれだ。
はあ、
父上、隠居なされよ。
隠居なされよ。
オリビー、久しぶりに家に寄ったと思えばいきなり何を言い出すのだ。
家督を私に譲り、余生をゆっくり過ごされよと言っておるのです。
Saying that as the remains of your life sail. Yeah, that's what.
わしの後はアレックスに継がせるつもりだ。
あのような腰抜けに私に全てを譲り、外国でゆっくりバカンスなどいかがですか？
バカンスなど。
アレックスなどではアームストロング家の名に泥を塗るだけです。
姉上、帰っていらしたのですか？アレックス、ちょうどよい。はい、オリビーと戦え。はあ、勝った方に家督を譲る。それでよいか、オリビー。
はい、望むところです。
オリビエがこのわしに隠居してよそに行けというのでな。
隠居しています。Alright, so Mohammed Khan asks, can you link all your Yomi? No, I can't link those. However, if you do a search on YouTube for Matt vs. Japan and Yomi-chan, on his video, you're going to see plenty of links to all those Yomi-chan dictionaries. Okay.
なんと、父上に対し、なんたる無礼か。姉上、いいでしょう。我が輩の全身全霊全筋肉をもってお相手いたす。
全身全霊、full body and spirit, right? Full body, full spirit. 全身全霊。その意図を持っている。力をすべて。うん。全身全霊。全肉。全筋肉。筋肉。
いい度胸だ、アレックス。
いい度胸だ。
己の未熟さを思い知るがいい。
未熟。Unmellow? Drovsod asking, is Yomi Web based or standalone? It's standalone, but obviously, you know, they'll update via the web. And yeah, as long as you got the dictionaries locally, that in fact you link to it locally, it's fine.
で、どこに ね、バカンス。
シンはいかが？
Oh, that's her name, Bakansu. No, they don't have it.
かしらあなた。食べ物が美味しいと聞いていますわ。
ではそうしよう。キャスリンも良いね。
はい、お父様。
待ったなし。殺す気ですか。
今頃気づいたか。
兄様、頑張ってね。お二人のお土産はどうしましょう。
象なんてどうだ。でかいし強いぞ。
象なら私が欲しいですわ。
決まりだな。アームストロング家のすべて私がもらい受ける。
姉上、最近軍上層部と懇意にしていると聞きます。
と make sure that 懇意新しくしていること、遠距のいらない。Let me see that real quick. Social.
なぜです。あの上層部は。
私は自分の目で見て判断している。
それを見た結果、父上たちが人質に取られぬよう国外へ出したのですか。
敗者は去れ。この館は私のものだ。
Make sure. Didn't say I can't double touch. Got something planned. Oh, envy. Yeah.
お嬢ちゃん、どこ行くんだい？ここは東の果ての町だ。この先には砂漠しかねえぞ。
これから国に帰ろうかと。
国？
はい、深へ。
砂漠を越えてか？
はい。
女の子一人で砂漠を越えるのか？
はい。
おいみんな！
See, Doyomeki. I know it's like gasps. Okay, commotion. Oh, okay. Doyomeki.
半端だ。食い物でも何でも出してやれ。
Kampada. I don't think that's it. What that? I don't think it's Kampa. Okay, maybe I can make it.
そんな。
遠慮すんなって。
一晩泊まって明日出発したらどうだい？うちでお風呂入っていきなよ。
お腹空いてねえか？そうだスティーブ、お前んとこ部屋多いだろ。泊めてやれよ。
おお、いいぜ。上の娘が使ってた部屋が空いてる。
セントラルの大学行ったエミーか。お前の娘にしちゃ上出来だよな。
だろ？
こっちの猫ちゃんにも何かあげなきゃ。あら、お腹空いてるのね。
お前を餌だと思ってるんじゃ。
あかんでじゃないよ。そんなことないわよね、猫ちゃん。
ほら、うまそうって。
いいやつらだね。見捨てるのか？ま、それもいいけどね。ただし、 こんな死に損ないのホムンクルスを持ち帰ったところで、何の役にも立たないと思うよ。でもセントラルに行けば、本当の不老不死の法を知ることができるよ。ここの連中も助けられるかもね。まあいいや。これから国に帰るお前には関係ない話だもんね。
皆さん、ご好意ありがとうございます。
ご好意。Let's see. 思いやりの。to think to feel at home. Okay. 他人に。
どこ行くんだい？
やり残したことがあるので、セントラルに戻ります。
バカめ。セントラルに行ってくれればこっちのもんだ。賢者の意志さえあればまた変身できる。意志さえあれば。
Full Metal Alchemist.
Olivier, Greed, Alex, Das. Yeah, that's the first time they actually showed a lot of characters at once, you know, that were not connected. Eduardo. With, oh, her earrings.
Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal Alchemist. What? Darius. Oh, Darius.
ここは
以前使ったことのある隠れ家だ。
ここに弟がいるんだな。
ああ、俺には手に取るようにわかるぜ。あるなら必ずここに。
おい、誰もいねえじゃねえか。当てにならん兄貴だな。
北から必死こいて逃げてきて、これかよ。
いや、グレードか。あら、減った。リンダ。
That's Lin.
人心地ついた。
人心地。緊張が消えて出したく人間のとして少女かなと。人心地。
ありがとう、ゴッサさん。相変わらず食いすぎだ、バカ野郎。
非常食が空っぽだ。
非常食。非常食。
そちらさんはお仲間さん？ゴリさんと
ダリウスだ。
ハインケルだ。元軍人だが訳ありで、このガキと一緒に行動している。
こいつ何者だ？
なんて説明したらいいか。ホムンクルスだよ。
ホム？
おいおい、そんな軽く。
マジか。
話せば長いことだが、つかなんでお前こんなところにいるんだよ。
グリードのやつがホムンクルス組と縁を切ってな。その時の動揺に乗じて体の主導権を取り返した。
主導権。中心となっていること。I guess initiative. 主導権。体の主導権。
セントラル近くで隠れられる場所を探して、ここに。
どうした？
まずい、グリードが出てくる。
おいおいおい、待て待て待て、踏ん張れ、負けるな、意識を保て。
聞けエド、セントラルの地下にいるあのお父様とやらが来たるべきその日に扉を開ける。俺の素人考えだが、そこにお前たち兄弟が飛び込めば二人とも元の体に戻れんじゃないか。
いや、待てよ、そりゃそうかもしれないけど、扉を開けるには通行料が必要で。あいつ何のために扉開けるんだ。来たるべきその日って扉開けるのに決まった日があんのか。
それは
おい、
くそ、まだ出てくるな。伝言、ランファンにあの伝言を渡してくれたか。
伝言？アルが渡してきた。ランファは無事だ。今はどこにいるか分かんねえけど。
そうか、よかった。すまない、ここまでだ。くそい、真の王子め、余計なことをペラペラと。
グリードか。
ああ、そうだよ。
そうだよ。
やめとけ。
やめとけ。
そいつじゃ俺はやれねえよ。
そいつじゃ俺は、やれねえよ。いや、やれないよ。
邪魔したな。
邪魔したな。
おい、俺たちのこと見逃すのか。
見逃すも何も、さっきこいつが言ったろ。ホムンクルスと手を切ったって。
手を切ったって。絵の切る。手を切ったって。
俺は記憶が混乱して、ブラッドレーを襲撃しちまった。戻ったって何をされるかわかんねえ。だからこのままトンズラぶっこいて気ままに生きていくさ。
トンズラこえてトンズラこ
一人でな。
仲間にならねえか。行くとこないなら一緒に来いよ。
仲間ね。そりゃいい。ざけんな。この世のものすべて俺のもの。お前が俺の手下になるってならつるんでやってもいいけどな。
つるんでやってもいいけどな。
じゃあな。仲間か。俺の中にはこんなに魂がたくさんあるのには一人なんだよな。
だったらエドたちと仲間になればいいだろ。それが嫌なら俺にこの体を返せ。俺が真の皇帝になってその虚しさを埋めてやるよ。
虚しさ。その虚しさ。Let's see if that's afraid. 虚しさ。埋めてやる。
一国の王ね。
でかいだろ。
ガキが小さい小さい。どうせならよ、世界の王になるってのはどうだ。
世界の。
おいね、待て。
なんだしつこいな。俺はグリードだっつうの。
もうどっちでもいいや。めんどくせえから。グリリン。
おい、誰がグリ
手下になってやるよ。グリリン。
Kuriri. Okay.
俺様がお前の手下になるっつってんだよ。イコール俺にくっついてるこのキメラなおっさんたちもお前の手下。
あ？こんだけ何かって決めてんだ。
調子に乗るなこの豆チビカズ。
Chibi cuss.
大体よく考えたら軍の犬になるって決めた時点でプライドもクソもねえんだ。今さら尻尾振るぐらいヘでもねえ。それに感情に任せてチャンスと情報を失うわけにはいかねえだろ。千載一遇のチャンスをよ。
Senzai Ichigu. They take one chance in 1,000. You know, when a chance pops up. Sentoshi ni ichido meguri yau hodo mata tonai kikai. So it's a chance, even if it's one that comes up once in a year. Senzai Ichigu no chance.
愚かだな。そうやって劇場に任せて貴重な情報を失うか。
劇場。Jonah, precious, right? Jonah.
面白い。俺の部下になるってことは引っ掛け者だぞ。
引っ掛け者？当然との世の中に出られない。People in the hidden in the underworld, maybe? Obscure person, okay. Yoni, Shirarezu. 引っ掛け者だ。
後悔すんなよ。
なめんな。後悔することに関しちゃいい加減持ちだぜ。
I think that's like a family words, right? いい加減。その一人徳の論説。One's own view. Okay, one's own view. 一加言持ちだぜ。一加言持ちだぜ。
なんだそりゃ。
決まりだ。んじゃお前らも部下な。
ああ、もう勝手にしろ。
飯食わしてくれたら誰でもいいや。
お前ら何のキメラよ。
ゴリラだ。
ライオン。
かっこいいじゃん。
ピアス預かりっぱなしだ。ウィンリーにもアルにもしばらく会えそうにないな。来たるべきその日か。
Cute dog.
だから何度も来ないでくださいよ。泉さんが帰ってきたらこっちから連絡しますから。そうしょっちゅう来られたら仕事になりませんって。
いつも。あ、いや。always いつも。OK。しょっちゅう。
はい、カーティス精肉店。
精肉 So fresh meat, right? Butcher shop. 精肉店。Yep, fresh meat. 精肉。精肉店。
ああ、毎度どうも。
毎度どうも。
ご注文のやつね。
また来る。た
まには客として来てくださいよ。すいません。今軍のやつらが来てたもんで。ええ。アルフォンス君とホーエンハイムって人から伝言がありますよ。
そうか。そいつは大掛かりなことだな。
大掛かり。そいつ大掛かりなことだな。
ああ、わかった。
わかった。
約束の日か。
約束の日か。 This would be June's.
早く本部に連絡を。こちらポイント P 襲撃者あり。何？ドラクマか。わからない。相手の兵力は1名。1名？何者だ。おい、何者だと聞いてる。ポイント P 何者だ。
主婦だ。
謎の女による山岳警備兵襲撃。
Make sure about that. Sangaku should be the mountain range, right? Yama. Toku. Yeah, so the peak mountain tops, mountain ranges. Sangaku Keibigun. So, yeah, Shugei.
20年ほど前の事件と同じだな。
たった一人に全滅とは。アームストロング少将が帰ったら殺されますな。
マイルス少佐。
うん、ご苦労。
黒メガネ。
黒メガネ。
反り込みシュバール系とモヒカン巨漢の軍人さん。
モヒカン。Oh, Mohawk. Okay, Mohican. Mohawk hairstyle. Mohican. Kyokan style giant. Mohican Kyokan.
話に聞いた通りだわ。あなたたちが出てくるのを待っていたのよ。
貴様何者だ。
だから通りすがりの主婦ですよ。あるからの伝言を持ってきたね。人払いお願い。
人払い。秘密の話をするときなのに、僕の人とその席から。Assistant? Leave the room. Gotcha. 人払い。
はい。アルフォンソ・エルリックからの伝言です。約束の日だそうです。
おお、約束の日。それはちょうどいい。面白くなってきたね。
射撃。I forgot her name. She's the one who had the like fake her death, right? No. That's not. That's a. No. Wait. Different lady.
やっほー、レベッカちゃん。相変わらずいい腕ね、相変わらずいいお尻。
Oh boy.
クラマン中将、何してるんですか。
戦場で隙を見せちゃいかんよ。時に君、フォークアイ注意と仲いいよね。
うん。やっほーい、リーザー。久しぶり、レベッカ。北方軍と東方軍の合同演習が計画変更になっちゃってさ。
北方軍と東方軍の演習。I know it's like a joint exercise. Is it Godo? Godo. I think it's Godo. Godo 演習が計画変更。In changing of plans, 計画変更、計画変更。ちゃってさ。
ほら、この前のドラクマとブリッグズとのドンパチのせいで。
ドンパチ。
場所を変えて東でやることになったんでしょ。大総統から聞いたわ。
マスタング大佐の次は大総統とはね。私にもセントラルのいい男紹介してよ。
はい、いい男。
早手号、お前のご主人は冷血だ、ケチだ。
Cold-blooded. That's it. It's a rekitsu. And cheap, right? Kechita.
今に見てなさいよ。いい男捕まえて寿退職してやるんだから。
Su Taishoku long after retired. Kotobuki Taishoku.
はいはい頑張ってハボック少尉にくれぐれもよろしく了解またね
ハボックああ
ハボック少尉にくれぐれもよろしくか
体の状態が落ち着いたら東部の病院に移ろうと思ってるんすよ。
そう寂しくなるわね。だったらちゃんとしたお見舞いを持ってくればよかった。はい差し入れ1日1本よね。
ありがたいっすちょうど切れてたもんで。
じゃあまた来るわね。
どうも。
あレベッカも心配してたわよ。
あはいはい
大佐が来たらよろしく言っておいて。
へいへいですってさ大佐何も隠れることないのに
お互い監視されてる身だからな。プライベートで余計な接触をして疑われてもつまらん。
うめえ大佐も一服付き合いませんか。
いや私は
まあそう言わずに一本
年を越して来春。
Next spring.
約束のその日。北も東も動く。
The north and the east move. I think I have to turn the volume down on this real quick. I think this shows more for what's happening. I think. Alright, so there's the map of the country. Alright, so that's Alphonse and his father, Hohenheim, going over basically redrawing the whole country's alchemical symbol. Rinseijin. Zenkoku Rinseijin. Okay, I've got the city name, but okay, there's helping out with the food. Winley and I forgot the lady's name. Okay, there's the two chimeras helping out with Yoshi, sorry. Is it Yoshi? I think, yeah, Yoshi. It's okay, so helping rebuild the city. Good. Okay. Let's see, Izumi. What's that? Izumi? I think it was Izumi. Irizumi and her husband. I forgot the husband's name. That's not Hawkeye. I forgot his name here. That's up north doing the plans there. Okay. Forgot that guy's name. I think he's a warrant officer. I think. And that's the. I know it's the. Fury. Fury. Fury Socho. Okay. Okay, that's Hawkeye, right? Let's see, that's Havoc. Still in the wheelchair. You might get his. Okay, there's Olivia on the Dark Council or whatever it should be called. All right, there's her brother showing off his muscle skin. Okay, and there's Marco and Scar going through the desert for some reason. Marco, face still. There's Anyway, yeah, so she's heading back to the city with Envy. Okay. There's Gideon. Wait. Gideon. Okay. Woody. Okay, there's Edward. Okay, Central. Alright, there's all the homunculuses. Minus greed, obviously, and lust. So something's happening. And there's Father. Alright, cool. And now we can go back to audio. There's Merlot. My lord, we're traveling at, well, it depends in reference to what. I mean, if you're looking in reference to like the sun, you're traveling at a speed different than if you look at in reference to the center of the galaxy, which you're going much faster. If you look at the speed of the galaxy, where your speed in reference to, let's say, what we view as the center of the universe, which isn't really a center, just like, well, technically we view ourselves as the center. But in reference to other galaxies, we're moving like close to the speed of light, if not approaching it. So again, it just depends on your perspective and what your point of reference is for, did it, so what is it? Oh yeah, it said it. And a given day, so it's in a given day in spring. The promised day.
年を越えて春、人々の決意。少年は思いを胸に虎の穴を目指す。次回鋼の錬金術師フルメタルアルケミスト第46話迫る影。
迫る影。
離れていても心は通じている。進み続けている限り。
Okay, cool. And yeah, just had to usually like the ending credits are the same, but that just happened to be that particular ending credits was special in that was covering a lot of material from the manga that they weren't turning into, animated sequences. So they just showed pictures of it instead, which I thought was, that's kind of cool. So you can kind of guess like, okay, yeah, they're all doing their own thing, but the plans are in motion. So yeah, what's happening over the next few episodes, which aren't many, it's like less than 20 left, like less than 18 episodes now. It's going to all happen, I'm assuming it's going to all happen in a very short amount of time. Not, especially when it gets right down to it, yeah, a lot of stuff's going to be happening all at once. Especially because I'm assuming the coming day is going to be like, kind of like a particular... I can't remember. Was it a eclipse that happened on that day? Whatever the actual long-term plans are, it has to happen on one particular day. That means and it has something to do with changing it really comes down to changing what the alchemical symbol looks like. And I don't know how they're going to pull that off. I mean, the big circle's obviously there, but looking at it, if you can design that circle, it feels like if you can design that circle by maybe if you collapse certain tunnels at a key point, so it's not longer a part of the diagram, then maybe that's how they're going to pull it off. So all they got to do is like make some connections as needed, and then get those connections to happen at the same time while closing the other connections. And you basically redesign the symbol. I'd have to look at it to see what the overlay looks like on. Could you do that with what's the minimum amount of effort? Because most of it's already been drawn or already been carved. So again, since we haven't been told, and we don't know like the extent of how much power Hohenheim has, because I assume Hohenheim has more power than, and maybe I'm wrong. It depends, like how much power did Father give to each of the seven homunculuses, through the seven deadly sins. So if he gave them a lot of power, that means that he's weakened himself. even though he's still still the most powerful. He's still like compared to Hohenheim, be much weaker. So if they went head to head, Hohenheim would win through a war of attrition. He just happens to have more souls. But it also means Hohenheim has a lot more reserve power to utilize to do more powerful stuff, I'm assuming. So he might be able to pull off some stuff. He may have already been pulling it off. Like he may already know what to do. And he's been kind of preparing for it. That's what because remember, a few episodes back, he did something where he ripped his fingers into his chest. You know, he apologized to the spirits of names of spirits he had to use. And spilled some alchemical blood into the Philosopher's Stone bloods into the ground, and it was doing something. So he may already be setting up something like his version of homunculuses, but for his particular purpose, not just to go out and kill people, but maybe it has to do with carving that symbol as fast as possible. You know, make sure to do it to where once it happens, though, that they don't have time to react and stop it. That would be my guess. I mean, because that's the only way I can see this happening. Because again, if they were spending 500 years using Sloth to carve out this whole big thing, they don't have 500 years. They only got a few days. And we already seen that Pride can stop anything that gets in the tunnel. So they got to be able to account for that. I think, yeah, it's going to have to deal with Father. Or Hohenheim using his particular powers to be able to help pull this off, but he needs it with the help of everybody else. He can't just do this alone. All right. Anyway, so let's carry on. We're going to 123. Yeah, the dug tunnels. Yeah, so he was digging the tunnels all around the country.
来るべき約束の日、運命を決するその日に向け、人々は準備を進めるのだった。そして時は巡り、頃は春。いよいよ約束の日が訪れる。
Shadow. Semeru Okage. Semeru Okage.
祭りかな。
リゼンブール名物。
うん。
春の羊祭りですよ。
I keep forgetting the word for sheep. Hitsuji. Hitsuji.
そんな日にすまない。水の補給がしたいのだが。
いいですよ。いくらでもどうぞ。
よし、タンク下ろせ。
せーの。よいしょ。留守のようだな。
着いたよ、お嬢ちゃん。
うちの匂いだ。
おお、オートメールだらけだな。
作りかけは触らないでね。ほこりっぽいな。
You'd think he would have mentioned something. That was like a long time waiting for him to not say anything. Okay.
どうしたエドワード・エルリック
侵入者か開いた
何やってんだお前ら
What page are we at?
リン貴様ら確かキンブリーの部下
んあれお前らブリッグズの
こんなとこまで追ってきたのか待て待て待て待て銃を下ろせ
ちょっとエド、一体何がどうなってるの？
話せば長いことなんだが。
だいたい私の部屋で何してたのよ。
たまには外を見ながら食べたかったんだよ。
とにかく銃を下ろせって
でかい声出すな
犬うるせえな
乙女の部屋から出て
乙女。了解ような乙女。
心配した。
おう、そっちこそ無事で。アルは一緒じゃないのか。
エド、アルが駅にいるのよ。マイルズさんと一緒に。すぐ出発しちゃうの。急げばまだ間に合うかもしれない。どうしたの？行かないの？
俺たちはセントラルのお尋ね者だ。
尋ね？ Okay.
誰かに見られたらまずいんだ。
だけど
羊祭りか。懐かしいな。
そろそろ出発だ。
はい。
今度帰ってくる時には元の体に戻っているといいな。
はい。
ウィンリー？おかえり。
ただいま。心配かけてごめんね。
むさ苦しいのが増えたね。
むさ苦しい。
お騒がせして申し訳ありません。自分たちはブリッグズ兵であります。ウィンリーさんの護衛として派遣されました。
リンだよね。
え？お前こいつの知り合いか？グリードだ。よろしくな。
は？
てなわけで今こいつら俺の手下。
なんでここに来たの？
ことに備えてこいつのオートメールの手入れとか万全にしときたくてな。
後で見てやんな。お前が作ったオートメールだから。
Make sure about this means adjustment, right? 手入れ良い状況。皆さんを入れたり作る。
私には微調整できないんだよ。
微調整。Yeah, subtle adjustments, right? 微調整。Special adjustment? Yeah, fine tune. Okay. 調整。
うん。わかった。
調整。Let's see, what's Merlot saying? It was the bats. It wasn't like the animal caused coronavirus. The coronavirus existed. It just happened to be inside an animal that was adapted to survive the virus. Sorry. Our animal species, humans, just weren't adapted to currently to be able to resist it in large part. So instead, we're going to have to go through more artificial means of vaccinations, which should be happening probably in large scale. Hopefully, starting in the early winter next year, and then definitely in big part in the spring. Hopefully, if all goes well. Yeah, but you don't blame animals for the fact of a virus. Virus is, and just a matter of do animals, there are those that can adapt to it or not. So.
そっか。リオールは立ち直ってんのか。よかった。気になってたんだ。で、アルはなんだってマイルズ少佐と一緒なんだ。
ブリックスの人たち、東部の演習場で何かやるらしいの。アルはそれを手伝えるんじゃないかって自分から。
そっか。
エドのお父さんは一足先にセントラルに行ったわ。
一足先に。OK。一足先に。
カナマっていうスラムにいるらしいから。
カナマ。カナマ Maybe that's it. スラム。
会って詳しい話を聞いてあげて。もうすぐ約束の日なんでしょ。
俺もグリードから聞いた。元に戻れるチャンスでもあり、この国に大惨事が起こるかもしれない日だ。
大惨事 Great grief or yeah tragedy 大惨事この国に大惨事
なあ。
何？
ばっちゃんとデン連れて。
デン連れて
外国に逃げとけ。
あ、the dog is dead.
逃げろって何よ。身内だけ逃がしてどうすんの。あんたはこの国がどうにかなっちゃうのを止められないの。
止めてやるよ。止めてやるけど万が一ってことがあんだ
ろ。万が一も奥が一もない。
That's a good phrase. 万が一、おもう。奥が一。
あいつらとんでもないことやろうとしてるんでしょ。そんなのぶっ潰してこの国守ってよ。そんでエドもアルも元の体に戻って帰ってきてよ。そのためなら私何でもするよ。
There we go. So now you see that he has gotten taller, much taller in the time.
たく簡単に言いやがってよ。
何よ、弱気になるなんてあんたらしく。ちょっとエド。
なあ、ギャーギャーうるせえ女だな。
Probably would have helped if they kind of deepened his voice just a little bit, but yeah, it's up to the voice actor. It might be difficult for him to do, or he didn't choose to do.
エド。
いいね、あの女。あれもこれもと強欲で。
強すぎる欲なんてろくなもんじゃねえよ。
ろくな。あ、記録だな。ろくな。Let me see something real quick. ろく。
見ろ、し 死んだ人間を欲したらこのざまだ。
そうかい。死んだ奴に会いたいも、金が欲しいも、女が欲しいも、世界を守りたいも、全部欲する心。すなわち願いだ。
すなわち。すなわち。すなわち願いだ。
俺に言わせりゃ、欲にいいも悪いもねえ。欲っつうもんに偉そうに格付けするから。
いいそうに偉いそうに。偉いそうに。格付く。
人間はややこしいんだよ。
うん。
こんな時間に出かけるの？
お前に会わなくても今日出発するつもりだったんだ。オートメール整備してくれてありがとうよ。
ホーエンハイムに会うことがあったらトリシャの言葉伝えるんだよ。
エ
ド、私。
お前はちゃんと隠れてろよ。約束の日とやらに全部終わらせて帰ってくっから。
とやらに。
アップルパイでも焼いて待ってろ。
ゲソをちゃんと、いうのはやめた方が、ゲソ。Oh, sorry. Where are we at here? There.
今日もよく働いたな。でもよ、こんなことしてていいのか俺たち。もうすぐ約束の日だぞ。しょうがねえだろ。マルコさんもスカーも来ないんだから。まったく、あの二人どこで何を。
There.
先生。おお、君たち。おお、君たちじゃないぜ。長いことどこをほっつき歩いてたんだよ。
ほっつき、どこほっつき。ほっつき歩く。ほっつき。Okay, so it's all year round. どこほっつき歩いたんだよ。
わかってる。
わかってる。
セントラルに向かおう。しかし、なんか妙な感じだよな。元軍人の俺たちがイシュバール人と一緒に行動するなんてよ。
そうそう。俺たちにとっちゃアメストリスは生まれた故郷だし。
故郷？ふるさと、right? But also, let's see. Yeah, 故郷。ラムス生まれた故郷だし。
家族もいるし。
でも国に反逆してたスカーが今こうしてこの国を救うために動いてるなんてな。
勘違いするな。この国を救うのではない。変えるのだ。イシュバールの民を否定したこの国に我らの存在を認めさせるため俺は動いている。
世界を変えるためにはまず己が変わらねばならぬ。
世界を変えるためにはまず変わらねば。
そういうことだ。アメストリス人よ。 石原氏、なんで？
何ヶ月もただほっつき歩いてたわけじゃないのだよ。
ほっつき歩いてた。
志を共にする仲間たちだ。
今年もよろしくお願いします、閣下。
いやー、今回の演習がこっちで助かったよ。北での合同演習はしんどいからね。準備は整っとるよ。
こちらも手はずはすでに。
こちらも手はずはすでに。Let's see if that's a phrase. 手はず。手はずはすでに。
しかし、ちと厄介なことになってな。
ちと厄介。No, that's a different Yakai. I think it says them right there. Indode. It's like troublesome. Yeah, a little trouble. Or annoyance. しかし、ちと厄介なことに。
厄介なこと。
なんとブラッドレイちゃんが見物に来てんだよね。
約束の日が目前ですから。
目前ですから。should be 目の前 right in front of us すぐ近く目前。約束の日が目前ですから。
演習の監視役はそれなりの人間とは覚悟してましたが。
oversee 監視役。
ま、なんとかするしかないね。
We just have to do something. なんとかするしかないね。
まただ。あっちに引っ張られる感覚が。
感覚
がだんだん短くなってる。急がなきゃ。早く元の体に戻らないと。
Was that gluttony? Gluttony spit, right?
似合う似合うよ鋼の錬金術師の弟の匂いだ逃げるのま
ずいこんな状態じゃまともに戦えない約束の日までおとなしくしていてもらいますよアルフォンス・エルリック
Full Metal Alchemist. Full Metal Alchemist.
It's actually a pretty late mid-card. Usually it's around the 10-minute mark. 10 or 11-minute mark. Ah, Olivier.
どうも、少々閣下。
貴様なぞに出す茶はないぞ。
近々食事にお誘いできるかもしれません。
いつぞやの約束を果たす気になったか。
いつぞや。いつぞや。Oh yeah. Give you. So it's basically okay. So basically, sometime Itsuka. Sometime. いつぞやの。
それにしても広い屋敷ですね。さすがアームストロング家。中隊、いや大隊くらいは入りそうだ。
Maybe oh yeah, a large regiment.
私にもしものことがあったら、この屋敷丸ごとくれてやってもいいぞ。看護家に屋敷は入らんからな。
看護家。うん。
弟君には譲らないのですか？
君？弟君には。
あいつにやるくらいなら貴様の方がまだ毛一本ほどマシだ。
それは光栄です。遅ればせながらアームストロング家当主になられたお祝いです。
See, that's full phrase. 遅ればせながら、遅ればせながら、ストロング。The actual thing.
ヒヤシンス。
うん。
セリム・ブラッドレーはホムンクルス。
ご存知ですか？ヒヤシンスの花言葉。
ヒヤシンスの花言葉。Hyacinths. Let's see if there's a kanji for this. Hyacinths. They don't. I guess they're not given a. Hyacinths. Hyacinths. Hyacinths.
知らん。
知らん。
しとやかな可愛らしさ。
しとやかな。可愛らしさ。うん。しとやか。Can't remember that kanji. Graceful. しとやかな。Okay. Graceful, gentle, pure. This kanji does not look familiar. How? Is there a frequency? Okay, it's not. It's definitely in the level 4 level. Okay. Only gentle and pure. しとやかな。可愛らしさ。
余計なお世話だ。
それではこれにて閣下。
青二歳目が。
And that was like junior high or just a juvenile. Aonisai. Aonisai. 経験の足りない男の青にさ青にさ約束の日前日 so the day before the promise day so yeah lots of shit's gonna be going down
うざったいな。どさくさに紛れて逮捕。
どさくさ事件が4時で観覧している so complicated 取り込んでいる状態 confusion どさくさうざいなうざたいな強いうざたい。うざたいな。
ここでブラッドレーのいるとこを吹き飛ばしちゃおうか。
吹き飛ばす。
やめてください。
マイルズ少佐。
アルフォンス・エルリックの所在はまだつかめないか。
捜索は続けているのですが、まさか向こうに捕まったのでしょうか。
明日は約束の日だというのに。
閣下。白露少将です。閣下、グラマン中将のことでお伝えしたいことがございます。
東方軍を使ってクーデターか。
クーデター。Yeah, he's gonna use the Eastern Army to perform a coup.
だとしたら予想の範囲内だ。
いえ、東と北の合同演習はおとりです。閣下が東にいることにより手薄になったセントラルで
weak. Yeah. Okay, yeah, so undermanned. Teus. 手薄になったセントラルで
イシバールの残党がテロを行います。
残党。イシバールの残党がテロ。
そしてグラマン中将はテロ鎮圧を口実にセントラルに侵攻。
鎮圧。力を持って。To repress? Suppress, right? Suppression. Okay. 鎮圧。テロ鎮圧を。口実。That's the 口実 fabrication. 責任の。reason? また。excuse, pretext, 口実。テロ鎮圧を。口実。セントラルに。入港進行
マスタング大佐と交し
交信
混乱に乗じて中央司令部を乗っ取る計画です。
乗っ取る計画です。
白露少将の情報通り
白露少
ここ数日で多数のイシバール人がセントラル付近に潜入したとのことです。
私はセントラルに戻る。 あとは任せたぞ。はっ。
マスタン組、大それたことを。
大それたことを。大それた。マスタン組。大それたことを。
使える手駒を引き離して。
手駒。将棋ピース、OK。自分にとって。Well, when you take one piece, 自分が取った相手の capture 将棋ピースや手駒。使える手駒を。引き離して。
牙は抜いたというのに。
牙は抜いたというのに。
止まったぞ。
どうしたんだ。羊だ。
急いでいるというのに。
おい、機関車だけが動き出したぞ。
何？どうなってる？おい、止めさせろ。
Yeah, I think they should already know what's about to happen. Damian.
線路上の羊は排除しました。
線路上。
予定通りセントラルに向かいます。行くぞ。大佐がお待ちかねだ。はっ。
くそ。まんま飛び押されましたな。
Moto Mustang. Okay, so I like his previous group. まんまと。非常にうまくことが。どうですね。
白の少々。閣下の乗った列車が爆破されましたぞ。
Fury Socho.
Alright, so it's Ensign or Lieutenant or Second Lieutenant Ureda and Fury and Senior Chief or like Master Sergeant or Sergeant Major. I think Sergeant Major would be a bad one, so it'd probably be like Master Sergeant or First Sergeant.
少尉は勘弁してください。
Yeah, I don't think Sergeant Major is a good one. Staff Sergeant. Problem is going to be is like there's like I think like in the let me just explain real quick. For the Japanese self-defense force, which is technically not an army or a navy, technically, you know, it technically is a police force, self-defense force. That's the reason why it's called that. So it's not really called. You don't say like Isocho or Socho. You don't say Iso or Isocho. Instead, or Taisa. You don't give those names anymore. They kind of actually have a more of a civilian type rank, technically. But anyway, with the Socho, so So would be like the non-commissioned officers. So non-commissioned, it just means you're not commissioned by the government, by the military as a rank. So it's non-commissioned. You know, you technically are an officer, but it's still enlisted, but it comes with, the reason is like as far as the UCMJ is concerned, if you not for the, which is usually copies of that, variants of that, or other militaries have variants of that as well. Since a lot of the military's structure is coming from, kind of based, a lot of it is on European design that you see around, lots of parts of the world, a lot of the world, sorry. Not all of it, but, but anyway, so with, I forgot what's below that, but it's like there's the enlisted ranks, which is think of levels 1 through 3, and then above that is the non-commissioned officer rank, so that's 4 through 6, and then above that would be the senior non-commissioned officers, or the chiefs in the Navy term. So it'd be like 7, 8, 9. Now in the self-defense force, there's only like a 7, and then after that is the warrant officers. But they decided to finally, I think, they create a shocho. So that would have been socho would have been the chief rank, or the gunnery sergeant rank, or equivalent thereof. Sergeant, not staff sergeant, but forgot what the Army rank was. But anyway, it's fine. The equivalent of an E7. And then, but they finally made one. I forgot the term for it, but they finally made like the equivalent of an E8. And so that's like a, essentially equivalent of like a kind of a sergeant major. I don't think they made the equivalent of an E9 yet. I could be wrong. It's been about maybe 10 years since I was like listening as to what changes were made. But anyway, between that is warrant officer. Now, warrant officer is a little different in the way the U.S. does it versus with the Japanese. Japanese stuff is like you go from sojo to warrant officer, and then between warrant officer you go up to the officer rank. So it's actually like is a linear path. Whereas in the American military, the U.S. military, and some other military as well, it's kind of like parallel paths. So you got the enlisted ranks and you got the officer ranks, and in between is kind of like what's called the warrant officer ranks, which usually it's like you go from enlisted, you then become specialized in a field. But so you got basically you do get commissioned. So there's the warrant officer 1 is non-commissioned, so it's just warrant officer. But then above that is commissioned CWO. You might hear as chief warrant officer, but also commissioned warrant officer. So they supposedly, I believe, they cover commissioned rank. And then I don't know. So I guess it's easier if you just show a picture of it. I just thought, anyway, I'm looking at the ranks, and it is, again, I think it's kind of cool if, the Japanese ranks kind of make sense. And I like it also if you look at the Navy ranks, how it's in sets of 3. So it's, you got like the seaman ranks 1 through 3. You've got the petty officer ranks 4 through 6. You got the chief ranks, which is from 7 to 9. You got warrant officer ranks, which is like from 1 to 5, although almost nobody's a 5. And then you got the officer ranks, and you got the junior officer ranks from 01 to 03. You've got the field officer ranks from 04 to 06. Then you got the general or naval admiral ranks from 07 to 010. And you don't really, you technically can have an 011, but we haven't had that in the U.S. military since I think World War II. And then technically there's a rank that was given for George Washington that's like an 012. No, he's like a kind of 6 or like a 6-star or 7-star. Because again, General Washington or President Washington, the idea is like technically he was supposed to have had the highest rank of anyone ever in the U.S. military. So so whoever had the highest rank, Washington's supposed to have 1 rank higher. That's always supposed to be that, no matter what. Even if he's been, passed away, he's been, again, not alive for over 200 years. It's just just a custom. All right. So I don't know. It's just, that's the U.S. military. I don't know too much about the history of other countries' militaries, but this is some interesting stuff there. But it's kind of structured. And if you look at structures in levels of 3, you can kind of see how, who you're in charge of, what each level of rank you can expect to be in charge of when you're put into either in the enlisted ranks or the officer ranks. And I'm talking too much. Let me just finish this episode and then call it a day.
今はただの脱走兵ですよ。
Where are we at? All right, 21-27. 今はただの脱走兵ですよ。
お先真っ暗だ。
Let's make sure that's a Saki.
全部終わったら大佐に責任取ってもらいましょう。
Yeah, okay, so it's just a normal. 2309, 2301. Yeah. Green.
大総統がキングブラッドレーが死ぬなどまだそうと決まったわけではなかろう。捜索はどうなっておる。まだ現場に部隊がついておらん。
頭がいなくなった途端これだ。所詮は烏合の衆。
そんなことを言ってる場合か。最高司令官が不在なのだぞ。分かっておるわ。
動くチャンスか。
おお、このようなところにおいでになられるとは。
みんな落ち着け。セントラルには私がいる。
暗闇に潜むは魔物か獣か化け物か。
Magical animal. Let's see. Make sure it's a Mamonoka. Yeah. Okay. Demon. Mamonoka and beast. So a demon, a beast. What does that? Make sure about that. Kemono. Mamonoka, kemonoka, bakemonoka. Monster. So a demon, a beast, and a monster.
危機に陥る少年たちを
危機に
救うは黒き一陣の風。
黒き一陣の風です。黒き一陣の風。
次回鋼の錬金術師フルメタルアルケミスト第47話闇の使者。
Yeah, that's the ambassador. Shisha is also like an ambassador, but let's see, you say emissary? 命令や色の受けて使いに行く人。Messenger envoy. Okay. What was I thinking? What's let's see. Daitorio is president. She got forgetting what embassy was. It was Daishikan? Can't remember. I'm forgetting what okay, anyway.
光を当てろ。人の心に深い闇に。
光を当てろ。So if we strike at the light, 当てろ. Things like things like strike it. Alright, anyway. Cool. Alright, cool. Cool beans. Yeah, I can't stay on much longer, but yeah, that was pretty good. Again, very good episodes. I had a discussion, really brief discussion on Discord, you know, because somebody's like, hey, what episode is this? It's about, oh yeah, seasons 4, episodes 7 and 8, something like that. And there's, oh yeah, it's a good episode. I said, no, man, they've pretty much all have been good episodes. I mean, some of it just like have a lot of wow moments, but they're all been pretty good. Even the slower ones, where it's mainly just talking, but even those have some pretty good bits of drama that are about going on. So yeah, I think, like I said, I don't think there's been a filler episode. There's, you know, I really don't. I mean, in fact, you saw it like the last episode. They had to put stuff into the end sequences to kind of, so that again, kind of fill the gaps, explain, hey, shit has been moving. People have been, doing plans have been going on, so you're going to be skipping a few days. But hey, here's a brief summary and photo of stuff that's going to be going down. Let's see, Chair saying, just stop by saying thank you for what you do. I've learned a lot. All right, cool, nice to know. And but yeah, this is again, it's a good show. I really not too much I can say about it. It's interesting. I've never watched it in English, so a couple times when on the videos I have, there is an English audio for it, and a couple times like the English will play instead, and just a shock, like you hear the voice actors for it. And I'm guessing there's nothing wrong with the English one. Like the voice actors are probably good, and the script they used probably makes sense. I hope. I'm guessing anyway. Sometimes if you go with just the fan translations, you get some that are of questionable quality, and if they use that as a script, then yeah, that means then. But I do think you need to localize. If you're going to translate, you localize, especially stuff like this where, avoid the use of san, chan, or sensei. Avoid the, saying, oh, this is a Japanese from Japan. Because again, in English, you don't normally say san. You don't say aniki. You don't say, again, you don't say, oh, well, sometimes, I don't know. I don't think I've ever said brother. Talk to my brother using the word brother in talking to him. No, I've never talked to him using it as a third person name like that. Now in the military, I've done that. Like you do refer to, like you would say, does the captain, does the CO, does the skipper. You will talk in the third person as a form of respect, but that's military, and that's different than way again your average, non-military would talk to each other. Even teachers, you don't use sensei, you say Mrs. Brown or Mr. Brown. So, and so I did that when I started teaching at an English school early on, and I think I've mentioned that before, where I was trying to explain, like, don't have the kids call me Charles Sensei, just say Mr. Charles. Like it wasn't I was gonna say my last name, but my last name is kind of difficult to pronounce for a Japanese person. So instead, they said, okay, let's skip with Charles. And what we started to do as teachers, and even the Japanese, even the ones that are Japanese, and we started calling each other Mr. or Mrs. or Mr. and Miss, and have the students refer to us as that. I think it works better that way. Now, of course, one time I say Mr. Charles Sensei, I think she wrote in a message. So, but I think they kind of get that Mr. is a honorific, Miss is an honorific. So, use it in that way. And you can still use that in a polite way. You can still call children like, Miss Hanukkah or Mr. Mr. or Miss to the kids. Not like you're deferring, again, just a small sign of respect, but not being rude. And there's nothing wrong with that. It can be somewhat common depending on the situation. But anyway, it's about regionalization. It just, I don't know. I'm of the group that it's like, look, you're doing this to enjoy a show. It's like if you want to then turn it into an educational lesson in the Japanese language, again, then do it in that way. But again, that's not the purpose of the translations. Translations are supposed to get the story across in a way that's enjoyable in the language, in the target language you're aiming at with the translations. Now, you could explain, you should have the subtitle notes to kind of explain a situation like what's happening in the scene, why this is of a particular note. That would make sense. But it shouldn't be trying to explain your translation. That your translation should stand by itself. You don't need to. You shouldn't have to explain. Again, you can explain that why this is socially the situation is of importance as compared to like if you saw like someone just purposely stick their chopsticks into the bowl of rice. Obviously, they're doing that as an insult. So you can say that above if you don't know that that's an insult in Japanese culture. Maybe some other things like if there's something that every person knows about in Japanese society, but it's not as common outside of Japanese society. And yeah, you put that as a translator note. But if you can't translate the conversation that's happening between people itself, like you got to use a Japanese term and then give a translator note about that term. Then that's. I'm not saying it's lazy. it's I don't think it's a very good way of translating. And again, I say that as a person who hasn't translated stuff. Just I've seen some really bad fan translations. You know, they're going out of the way to not say like prostitution or compensated dating. That again, that's prostitution. Come on. Or you're getting paid to go on dates. You know, just say something like that. But no one say compensatory dating. People don't talk that way in English, so don't use that. Don't use direct translations like that. Just kind of figure out what's a very simple way if this were happening like between two English actors in the English language, how would they say it to each other? That's how you should translate it. Yeah. Anyway, I gotta go because I gotta actually teach a class. It's online, so that's why I'm just finishing this up. Anyway, so it has been fun. This has been Let's Read Japanese, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, episodes 47 and 8, episodes 47 48. And that's also if you've enjoyed the series or you've enjoyed the video, give it a like and give it a, if you haven't already, consider subscribing. Sure, do that. Don't worry about ringing the bell. If you enjoy the Let's Read Japanese project, again, links down below to become a patron of the Patreon. Also, if you want to hire me for tutoring services, usually it's just for technical assistance to get started. Again, that can be done via the Patreon, so the hourly rates are listed in there as well. I think beyond that, probably see you tomorrow, episodes 49 and 50. So we're getting there. There's only 64 episodes to get through, so we're getting there. It's whittling away, and it's been a blast. I hope it has. I'm assuming it has a really good ending, just because usually if a series has a shitty ending, it just all of a sudden like the drive for pushing it just goes. You get that with something that was super amazing, Game of Thrones, and all of a sudden no one's recommending, or Dexter, which really it didn't have a bad ending, it had a bad half, like 4 seasons of horrible versus 4 seasons of great stuff type, for example. Whereas you got something like Breaking Bad, everyone's going to be recommending that. I can assume Better Call Saul, everyone's going to recommend that. Mr. Robot, again, everyone will recommend that as a series, so it'll constantly be up and people will be pushing it and be recommended it. And then you've got other series, which doesn't matter, it ended on a good or bad note. It's just because every season was kind of its own thing. Stuff like The Wire, it's a good series you can promote where you say, hey, look, treat each season as its own thing. Same thing with like another good series, True Blood, or not True Blood, True Detective, where again each season was its own story. So you can recommend season 1 and season 3. And if you don't feel like season 2 was up to snuff, to say, you can skip the other, because again, they're not connected. There's like almost no connection between the seasons. So you don't need to watch one to appreciate the other. You watch in any order, you're still going to love it. In fact, season 3, I really liked season 3, for example, of True Detective. And I put it up there actually as quality. There were some parts I liked it better than the first season. And the first season was actually pretty damn good. Okay. Enough of that. Thank you all very much. 一番安いシャンペーンの瓶買ってきます。Oh yeah, so a bottle of champagne just came. Okay, good. So have the cheapest bottle of champagne just came. So good, yeah. I think you find cheaper if it was empty. That would be the cheapest. It's an empty bottle. All right, later guys, and see you when I see you. Let me just say thanks for watching.